Did you ever come up with a name?
No.
No. This is episode 1.
BSC boys. You don't like that one?
No, not at all.
Hey everybody, welcome to BSC Talks, episode 1. We're coming to you from my office because we've run out of space everywhere in the building with loads and loads of product coming in. But a couple of things we're going to talk about in this video, specifically a product review of the Daniel H9. We've had an opportunity to put about 5,000 rounds through it, and I mean, it runs great, but we're going to go over some little quirky things about it, likes, dislikes, so on, and give you kind of a rundown of where we're at after it's been on the range and abused for 5,000 plus rounds. So with that, we're getting into 2024, which the beginning of the year is always a busy season for both Andrew and I. We are responsible for making sure product is in the store and getting out to the masses, to all of you. So with that is show season. So we have SHOT Show that's always in the first part of the year, and then we have our Buy Group Show first part of the year as well, which means we get to go to sunny Reno and buy a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm super excited about some of the new products coming in. So I don't know how you feel, but I'm really excited about having Axle coming in, the Ear Pro you see all over social media, Savior Equipment, which does world-class range equipment as far as bags, soft goods, things like that, but just built on a different level at a good price point. But what are some of the things that you're excited to see?
We've seen a lot of growth this year, especially in our optics offerings that we're carrying. One of the most exciting things is we are now an Aimpoint dealer, like a brick and mortar Aimpoint dealer location. So, everybody has heard about Aimpoint optics before. Everybody's seen them used online, but you don't really ever get a chance to go somewhere and put hands on it and actually see what it's like. So now you're going to be able to here at our store. Not to mention, we've drastically increased our offering from companies like Trijicon and Holosun. So lots of great new optic offerings this year.
So one of the other things we're doing with optics too is we're increasing some lines as well. So Holosun, we're increasing the line there, adding some lights, lasers, offering more red dots and optics that have a green reticle with them too, because we know that people do enjoy a green reticle from time to time. I'm really excited about Aimpoint. Trijicon, we're doing really well with as far as broadening our horizons with those guys too. But there's also a lot of gun companies that we're working with too, and bringing in some new manufacturers. So Military Armament Corporation has been making a lot of waves as one of the big notes out of SHOT Show. They make a 2011 that's similar to a Staccato P at $1,000 price point, I think is what they are. I think they're $999. And as far as quality goes, personally, this is gonna ruffle feathers. I actually think it's a better gun than the Prodigy that's $1,400 or $1,500. That's completely anecdotal evidence from yours truly. However, I've held enough guns in my life to kind of get a feel for what I like, what I don't like, and I just think it's a better built gun. With that, though, SDS Imports is bringing in the affectionately known as a Turknelli M4. So it's a Benelli M4 clone that they did a really good job with at a price point somewhere around $400 or $500 compared to the Benelli that is $2,000. But we're widening Taurus, we're widening Smith, we're widening Glock. But then there's a couple other brands though that we're restricting down a little bit. FN, we're gonna kind of narrow down that field a little bit. There's too many offerings from them, and quite honestly, they don't move that well. And then H&K is another one that we're gonna slim down on a little bit. But I'm excited about a lot of the long guns coming in, handguns coming in, shotguns coming in, ammo, accessories, you name it. We have a ton of inventory, a ton of new stuff coming that I'm stoked about. So with that, you have anything to add on new product coming in?
I'm really excited. We picked up Bushmaster again. We used to be a Bushmaster dealer years ago. Now that they've been purchased by Franklin Armory, I was really impressed by the new product that they're putting out. And I love the idea of bringing in some classic A2 stuff again. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also really excited at the potential for expanding Staccato this year. A lot more Staccato now that they've moved to their new facility. We are one of the bigger Staccato dealers in the state, so we're really hoping to be able to capitalize on this and drastically expand as long as they can keep up with production and keep us filled up.
One of the nice things about having a major offering and being able to carry some of the boutique brands like Staccato and Benelli and some of those other guns is there's some headaches that come with it too. So I can't just call a guy, or we can't just call a guy that has a warehouse full of stuff at a distributor and say, I need one of these, two of these, whatever else. You're dealing with smaller manufacturers, Benelli not so much, but Staccato definitely. And you are at their mercy when it comes to, if they decide to move their production facility, production stops for weeks, then picks back up, and the flow of guns stops.
Takes months to get back on track.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly how a lot of that stuff works, but we're rest assured that we're working our butts off to make sure we get you guys and offer everything that's out there that especially all of Licking County and surrounding counties want to see. So, anything else to add?
That's about it.
All right. Moving into what this video is all about, the 5,000 round review of the Daniel H9. So this gun was a little history on it. It was originally the Hudson H9, and then for whatever reason, and everybody's got their rumor mill of what happened to Hudson, but they made a gun. They're now no longer in business. Daniel bought the rights to it, which came with patents, and then they took a long time to develop this pistol. It is a metal frame gun all the way around. It has a fire control unit similar to a SIG 320 or 365, so you can put different frames on them that don't exist yet, but have been told are coming. Overall, the gun shoots awesome. The recoil management for this thing and what made Hudson really popular at the beginning is a good selling point to this thing. So if you have a weaker wrist or something like that, it still gives you a double stack 9mm and a metal frame that's a little less violent on recoil for you. But I'll give it over to Andrew right now to kind of give his 2 cents. And this is an unbiased opinion. I mean, we've got some quirks to it. We've got some likes and dislikes, and we're going to tell you all about them.
So a little background on the pistol, like Zach said, this is modeled after the Hudson H9, which I have had, and I have shot one of those quite a bit. We were selected as one of the test ranges from Daniel Defense because we're a longtime Daniel dealer and also a gun range. So they sent us this. It's a pretty early serial number, about 1,500. And I have to say, I've been quite impressed by it so far. When the gun showed up, Zach and I took it out to the range. We each put 50 through it, so quick little 100 rounds. We didn't clean it. We didn't do anything to it. We just gave it 100 and saw how it did. No malfunctions, no problems, no anything. And we tracked all of our rental guns on our range, and then we threw this gun to the wolves. So this has been in the hands of every single customer who's wanted to play with it, however many rounds that they wanted to play with it. And we haven't had a single bad thing to say about it so far. It's very easy to clean, very easy to maintain. It seems to hold up really well, even though it's used and abused all day long. We're sitting down doing this today because we just passed 5,000 rounds. So Zach and I took it back out to the range. We each put a box of ammo through it again to kind of see what was different or if it was exactly the same. A couple big things I noticed was, just like most guns, when it showed up, it was kind of stiff. The trigger felt a little gritty. And, maybe some of that was that, we didn't clean it. We didn't oil it, anything like that. Now it feels a lot smoother. The slide feels so much smoother. The trigger brake feels so much smoother. The controls feel a lot smoother as well.
Almost to a fault.
Almost to a fault, yes. The slide release especially is so sensitive. It is so very, very sensitive that if you're the kind of shooter whose finger is even just barely touching this when you're performing your reload, it's very easy to accidentally send the slide home early or cause a failure to feed by jamming it up or prevent it from ever locking to the rear in the first place because you're riding it.
So one of the things to note too is Andrew and I are not small humans. Andrew is 6'3", I'm 6 foot. We both have larger hands. This to me is a smaller frame gun. So if you've ever held a Staccato and you thought this is a little chunky, you'll love the H9. For me, it does feel a little narrow, and I ride really high on my grip. So, and I know Andrew does too. And you'll see videos as we clip them in here of some struggling on the range while shooting this thing after the 5,000 rounds have been through it. But if you have larger hands, you've got to be conscious of where your hand placement is on the frame, because you will interrupt the operation of the gun this way.
Now, as far as how the gun shoots and how it feels feels very well balanced. The recoil feels incredibly smooth, very, very similar to the original Hudson. The gun is absolutely a joy to shoot. I mean, it's a testament from how often it's rented and how many people love to take it out on the range and shoot it. But it is a little odd that it's a metal frame, compact, carry competition gun. It feels like it's a gun looking for a place. And
yeah, it doesn't necessarily have a home right now because it doesn't fit into a cookie cutter category.
right. Now, that being said, it is a great gun to shoot. If you're just a person who loves to collect guns, loves to go out and shoot, especially handguns, this is a great one to add to your collection. It's a lot of fun. Just be aware that those controls are extremely sensitive, and other than that, I mean, I don't have a bad thing to say about it.
All right, so let's go through the important parts of it. How do you feel about the ergonomics of the gun?
The ergonomics I really like. The gun feels absolutely great in my hands. It feels similar to a 2011, but not as chunky. It's almost as if you were going to make a compact version of a 2011.
So, being your size, larger hands, you're what, 6'2", 6'3"? How does it feel smaller to you than what you're normally comfortable with? Because for me, I'm not as tall as you, but I'm not a small human by any stretch. And to me, it almost feels too narrow when I get my hands around it. That said, if you don't have large hands, you will love this gun.
If you're used to shooting a Glock 19, an extremely common comparable compact, the grip profile is probably just a little slimmer than a Glock 19. It's not quite as boxy as that Glock frame, but it is almost identical in the way that the grip feels, just that 1911 angle as opposed to a Glock angle. So it won't feel weird to you at all if you're already used to shooting compact pistols to pick this up and take it out to the range. And like I said, it is an absolute joy to shoot, especially because of how little recoil there is with the gun's weight.
Brings me to number 2. What do we think about the recoil management, recoil impulse? Because personally, to me, out of the box, that is one of the smoothest shooting guns I've ever shot. And it has to do with the Hudson design for how the recoil management works. Could you imagine if Monsoon took this thing and did like a Lucky Sevens package on it? You could sit there and hold it and the gun wouldn't move at all.
Yeah, I imagine if you had any custom work done to one of these, like if you had it ported or compensated or something like that, it could be absolutely ridiculous. My biggest thing was I like to shoot fast. And with this gun, it was incredibly easy to shoot fast and keep it on target. Now, it's easy for me to shoot fast on all guns that I'm comfortable and familiar with. But with this, it was something that just right out of the box, I could pick up. I shot it very quickly, and it still felt very comfortable. It was easy for me to retain control of the firearm because of that little bit more advantaged recoil system that you have there, and it just felt really pleasurable to shoot.
All right, so one of the big features that it has that we forgot to mention is that it's optics ready. But from what I understand right now, and correct me if I'm wrong live on this video, that it takes optics plates, and the optics plates don't necessarily exist yet.
So it does take optics plates. Supposedly they do exist. It was a little bit of a weird situation for us because we were one of the test ranges that got the gun. So when we got it, it did not come with plates, and it comes with like a card in the book that says, or in the box that says, call and get your optics plate. When we reached out to them, they said, hey, the optics plates aren't in production. Obviously you got the gun before the release date, so it'll be a little while. That being said, by the time these guns are on the market and they're going out to people and they're being purchased, I imagine it will be one of those very similar situations where you'll just get the gun, you'll call it in, you'll say what optic you want to put on it, and you'll get the plate.
And it's a full-size optic mount, not a K-Foot Pro, right? So it's a mini, not a micro.
Yeah, it'll take full size.
So the difference, if you know your glass, it's the difference between like a Hollow 407C versus a 407K.
Right.
So the carry versus regular handgun size. All right, so we've covered ergonomics, we've covered recoil impulse. I mean, overall design is super clean. The fit finish to this thing all the way around is gorgeous. The trigger gets people a little bit because it is a weird double hinge, double safety trigger, similar to like a Glock, but it's on the top end of the trigger bar itself. I'm a trigger snob. I didn't notice a huge difference at all. It was almost like it wasn't there. Initially playing with it and dry firing it, well, when people first go on the range, they're like, this is a little weird. And everybody says the same thing. Once they put it under recoil and actually are shooting it, they don't notice it at all. And I think they did a really good job with it. Overall rating on the Daniel H9, Andrew?
Overall rating, like out of 10?
Purple out of 7?
Purple out of 7. I mean, it's a great gun. I really like it. I don't know if it's the gun for me. I don't really shoot compacts. I shoot
great. The gun is just the gun, not necessarily for Andrew, but just overall production, recoil, sight radius. I mean, all the features that go along with it.
I'd be like
on A through F.
I'd be like a 7 out of 10. I give it a B plus. There are some guns that I just put in my hand and I think like, oh my God, this is just the best thing ever. This is amazing. The Daniel has some of those features, but it doesn't have all of them. I love a lot about it, but I'd be curious to see how they develop this platform in the future, especially with the possible modularity.
That's what I'm excited for. I'm excited about the potential of the gun. Overall, for me, I think you're right there, B plus, A minus. I think the gun overall is a phenomenally built gun. I think it has Daniel's quality behind it. I don't think you're ever going to have an issue. Now, sure, there's a bad Mercedes that rolls off the lot every once in a while, but that's why Daniel has a legendary warranty to make sure to take care of you. That said, we imagine a rental gun similar to a rental car. Drive it like you stole it. People shoot these things like they're not theirs, and they beat the hell out of them. This thing runs time and time again. From what I understand, over the last 5,000 rounds, there's been hardly any, if none, really, issues with any type of ammo, all grain weights. We ran 90 grain frangible through it, all the way up to 147s through it. It ran everything like a champ.
We ran a lot of 124 grain NATO as well.
H9 overall, great gun, phenomenal gun. We have it here available to shoot. If you want to come in and try one out, pre-orders are still going on for the gun. And we can go from there. Price point on the gun ends up being somewhere around 14, 15, right?
I think it might be a little cheaper than that, actually. I think it's somewhere in the 13s or around there. I'll know.
We'll put it on the bottom of the screen once we verify.
I'll know
because we're not prepared.
We're not prepared. I will say, I mean, you can't stress enough the torture that a handgun especially undergoes at a public shooting range. Our shooting range has seen Glocks break. We've seen SIGs break. We've seen Smiths
staccato.
Break. We've broken a staccato on our range. It's, people show up and these are not their guns, so they don't care.
Think about the legendary reliability of the RMR, right?
Right.
It is. I've seen that thing dropped in combat, pick up, zero held, phenomenal. We've managed to break RMRs on the range.
Sure.
It happens. It's just they get so abused.
And granted, it was only 5,000 rounds, and it's only been a little bit of time. I'm sure.
What, 6 weeks or so?
Yeah, 6 weeks. But I mean, this gun, I don't even see any scratches in the finish. There's nothing. There's no blemishes. I think the gun may have only been cleaned once or twice. It's still.
Rest of the testament is reliability.
It's relatively still clean, very, very smooth functioning, and it's holding up great. There hasn't been a single malfunction reported with it, and it's been doing really, really great.
So you've seen videos of us shooting it clipped in, whether it's POV footage or whether it's downrange footage shooting back at us. I'm going to clip together the unedited reel down below at the end of this video so you can kind of see some of the issues that Andrew is experiencing, especially with his monster gorilla hands touching that slide lock. And if you pay close attention, you'll see that every time his thumb's riding it or getting close to it, it definitely doesn't allow the slide to lock to the rear. But we verified that it's absolutely on the shooter. It was 100% on Andrew. It was just how he holds the gun. And it didn't bother me as much because I don't grip as high with my left hand. His left hand was the one that was hitting as a right-handed shooter. But you can see all that below or at the end of the video with all the unedited footage from that. So, all right, moving on. Couple of fun things coming up at Buckeye Shooting Center in the near future. So Smith & Wesson Days is in March. It's March 16th all day. Smith & Wesson will be on site. We have a bunch of really fun stuff coming out. We've got a ton of sales that'll be going on with it as well. Super excited. Smith & Wesson Days is always a good time. Steve Huey, who is our Smith & Wesson guy, always a good time. One of the smartest reps that we've got that knows this product in and out. We're doing a really cool new launch of a joint project with Monsoon Tactical to bring you a Monsoon MMP, which I am stoked about. We have footage of that. That'll be in next week's video and a review on that for next week's video. Moving on into that, on March 9th, we have an open house here at Buckeye Shooting Center. So we are offering free shooting all day Saturday. Come in, experience the facility, see what we have to offer, and just become part of the family. So free shooting, open house on March 9th, all day. Moving into the end of the month, this is for our members. Member appreciation is on March 30th. We're doing a lot of fun stuff with that. Food, entertainment, the whole nine, and the range is closed to private member or to members only for a private event at the end of the day from 8 to 11. A couple of really fun things that I'm excited about are, and this is the first kind of notice of it, is we're doing an ATF event over Memorial Day weekend, which means alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I've heard maybe some explosives, depending. But for Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we will have vendors out here. We've got beer out here on tap. We're doing a huge gun bash with 60 guns. We're going to have a cigar lounge out here that's got samples and everything else that you can try out in the parking lot. So when you think of ATF and alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, it is a giant party. We're doing a ton of stuff to benefit local charities as well, but this should be a good time. Think of a gun bash you've been to. We're just taking that, putting it on its head a little bit, and bringing in the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms component to it. Not necessarily to stick a middle finger to the ATF, but just to have a good time with things that just sound like a good recipe for a party. So super excited.
It's an ATF party, man. What can go wrong?
Yeah, nothing. It's going to be perfect. And then in July, we have our first ever Buckeye Shooting Center poker run, which is benefiting Wounded Warrior Project. We have a Pan American Harley that we're selling tickets for to give away as well. And all proceeds benefit Wounded Warrior Project. We're going to have music, entertainment. We have Empire Tattoo that's going to be out here doing flash tattoos and some other tattoos as well. It's a huge party that's going on in July. More details to come on that, but that's kind of the 30,000 foot view of it. All right. With that, we're moving into the time where it's time to be done with this video for our first ever take on it. With that, we would love to hear from all of you. We've got a plan to do product reviews on a lot of this stuff. But right now, there's stuff that you guys are itching to know, learn about, hear about. I mean, hell, we can break down our life stories and our military careers if you want. But we want to give you what you want to hear. So if you guys have any questions or thoughts on anything else, leave them in the comments. Or you can email us at yt@buckeyeshootingcenter.com. I'll put that down here as well. With your suggestions, what you guys would like to hear, reviews you'd like to see. I mean, we have access and have a lot of guns and a lot of experience shooting, training, whatever else. We're kind of in this microcosm of being able to do anything and everything. We've never really had the time to sit down and put our thoughts on paper and do a standard video series on it. So I'm really excited about being able to get a lot of this information out to the public, give our 2 cents on it, because if you've been with us long enough or know us from Adam, we are very unfiltered and are going to give you our 2 cents. I mean, to sit here and tell you that the H9, if you have bigger hands, was prone to a couple little quirky things. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to be honest about that and tell you that, because they're also trying to sell them out the front door while somebody's in the back doing the video on it. So your integrity and your reputation in this industry is everything, and we like to maintain that on the high ground. So without anything else, do you have anything else to add?
I mean, that's pretty much it. People have been asking us for years what our opinions are on firearms. It's probably the number one topic of conversation that comes up out on the showroom floor, out in the range. Is, we can't host a league, we can't host a shooting event or anything like that without people talking about and comparing gear and equipment. And we are no strangers to gear and equipment. So
yeah,
we get hands-on with everything. We go to all the trade shows. We shoot just about everything. There's barely anything we haven't shot or haven't touched or haven't formed an opinion on, whether that opinion is worth a damn or not. So if there's anything you guys want to see, if anything you're just dying to hear about, let us know. Leave a comment down below. Talk about, what other guns you'd like to see us do reviews on or talk about, or what else is coming up down the pipe, or if there's a new release that's scheduled for this year that you guys would like us to get our hands on and do a review of, we'd love to know about it.
100%. So help us out. Like, follow, and subscribe on all channels. This is on YouTube, a podcast, Rumble, and everything else. It helps us to help promote what we're doing, our culture, 2A across the board. So follow us, like us, all that fun stuff. And if you don't like us, that's fine. I'm not going to take any offense to it. But I love how Pat McAfee does it, because if you don't like us, screw you. Just move on. But
if you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
Everybody's got their 2 cents, but we could always use the help. This is not monetized by any stretch of the imagination. I don't ever care to be monetized through YouTube or any of the other channels at all. We just want to put out good content because we have a passion for it. We'd like to share our passions with our friends. So yeah, if you guys want to see anything else, let us know. And then please like, follow, and subscribe down below. And we'll see you soon. Without anything else, I'm Zach. That's an asshole. And Oh, his name's also Andrew. But we'll see you soon. But appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen.
That was bad for the video. Did not lock open on an empty slide. An empty mag for the one.
Let me see it. I have an idea. You're riding the slide lock.
Is it that sensitive?
Yeah.
Was that the Frandible you just tried too?
That was the Blazer. Keep your thumb away from that slide stop.
That beeping's good, right?
Yep, you're recording. You brought this slide home early on yourself when you went to position your thumb.
I'm telling you,
It's sensitive.
I don't think I touched it. I think that was just like me re-gripping the gun.
You did. I have it on video. Hang on. Yep. I think we got about enough of what we can.
Let me try one more with this mag first, because that time I didn't have my hand on the gun at all, and this mag worked.
That was a good one.